go.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess. Do you mind while I have you all here? Do you mind if I ask a couple of questions?
Go for it.
Go.
Sure. So, Daniel, I think for placements, you were in a really interesting position. Would you mind walking through what your thought process was going 6-9-11, 6-10-3? Because I think a lot of us in chat were debating whether like 6-9-4 was worth or or like 6-10-3 versus 3-10-2. Like it felt like there were so many options there.
I was going for a more balanced approach, and I knew that if the cards fell in my favor, that I would have a chance at the brick port, and that was my main priority actually, because it's not only brick port, but backup plan. I still get sheep, and then I'm on everything. And then I don't think what's his face, Red can actually get to the ore port soon enough either. So I'm on the best ore wheat sheep, all the wood I can possibly touch. So it ended up working out kind of well for me there, but it was pretty risky. It was really just a balanced play for me.
Yeah, that was a nice 11 too. The turn that you got it, but the 11 came through.
The 11 pulled through so good at the beginning, and I was able to steal because I think the 11 rolled, and that was the wood I needed to take the brick port. Otherwise,
that's right.
I was just settling on the 5-2. I had the settle in hand. I was just gonna drop it, and then the 11 rolled, and I was like, oh. I'm so sorry.
I kind of popped off a little bit when the 11 rolled on your turn. I'm not gonna lie.
Exactly. That was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But it was just a balanced play for me.
Gotcha. And Tio, when it comes to placements, would you mind walking us through what your decision process was between the 8-4-12 and the 6-10-12? Because I think a lot of people in chat, and myself included, I think we felt relatively strongly about the 6-10-12 I think there were a lot of people in chat who liked the 6-10-12 with the idea of like, oh, you only need one wheat trade to get to the 8-9-12. But would you mind walking us through your thought process for going 8-4-12 instead?
Yeah, so it took a lot of thinking, but I thought if I went 6-10-12, then it was 8-9-12, and then to the wheat port after that. That was one thing. Another thing is if I went 6-10-12, it felt like the 10 is more of a target and takes out two of my settlements on a robber.
Oh, so you were afraid of getting blocked more.
Yes,
on the
but
10.
there was also the 8-4-12, which locked in all that up there for me. Someone couldn't so Griffin gets wood and brick, and he could have just shot through and hit the wheat port and blocked me off completely. And I didn't want that to happen either. So there was a lot of things I thought about, and I knew that there would be so much brick on the board that people would trade it to me. So
gotcha.
I did not expect the 10s not to roll all through the beginning of the game, though.
Fair.
Yep.
Fair. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I guess Ari, in addition, I think if I was in your spot, I would, given that you placed the 5-10-11, I think I would have had a really difficult time choosing between the 6-4-3 and the 8-9-12. Would you mind kind of walking us through what your decision making was in terms of like choosing the 6-4-3 as opposed to like the 8-9-12 or any other spot? I kind of
I think just to secure more wheat and easy expansions, which are not competed with. And I also thought Tio would go 6-10-12, and then if I go 8-9-12, that makes it a little bit less good thing. So I thought he would go 6-10-12 and then to 8-9-12.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I guess along those lines, Daniel, when the 6-10-12 ended up being left open, did you ever have thoughts of trying to like backtrack and steal I know it would have been, the odds were not exactly in your favor of beating Griff to the 6-10-12, but I think I at least it felt to me like, based on how the table talk was going, it felt like there was the big sentiment of like, oh, Griffin is too strong if he gets onto the 6-10-12, but there was no discussion of like trying to plow him there. And I was curious if that ever like I don't even know if that was even an option, given that I'm not sure how well Wood rolled at the beginning. Like it rolled okay.
So
but...
I saw the 6, 10, 12 as an option, but and I'm probably what you call an opportunist in
Sure.
Catan. So it's like if something comes along, or if I realize I only need a trade, or if I need something, minimal to make something happen, I feel like if I have to sway the whole table to plow Griff when everyone's on 2 points, that's a really tall task to do and a lot of negotiating. So that probably wouldn't have happened. Plus, I don't think it really was the biggest deal for him to get the 6, 12, 10, since nobody knew which way Road was going to go. So, plus, I really wanted to secure my 9, 10 anyway, to double up on the ore, which was big, I thought, but then there were no 10s. So my city didn't happen until way later in the game. I thought I was going to get a city like so much sooner. And then the 5 was just the key to unlocking devs. So, yeah. It was an option, and if it came about, I probably would have done it. But
I see.
We just wait and see what the dice rolls.
Gotcha. And I guess Tio and Ari, do you that trade at the very end to give Tio Road was wild. I'm not saying that in like a bad way, but just like
I would have
the amount of stipulations that went into that was really interesting. Do either of you have any comments about that, like after the fact? Because that definitely felt like game defining.
I should have gotten more cards, that's for sure. But I don't know. The other guys agreed that Theo shouldn't have gotten more cards, so I just gave in.
Yeah, he gave in.
He gave in because he knew it had to happen anyway.
Yeah, I think he should have gotten more cards as well, but I wasn't going to give in, and I was glad that the other guys were on my side because I feel like Ari was right.
Yeah, I was
trying to sabotage the trade because if it didn't happen, then I was going to win. Well, like 100% had the win in hand if the trade broke down.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like honestly, I wanted them to take it from me as well. Like sure, I would have won, but I wasn't keeping it either. First chance Griff gets, he's taking Road.
Yeah. So Griff, you had a VP at that spot, right? You were on 8 with a VP, and you just needed like 2 roads if you didn't 7-0. Yeah.
Yes, and then that last turn where I popped 3 times, I had 3 wood, 4 sheep, 2 wheat, and 4 ore. So
wow,
4 sheep for a wheat trade would have been the win as well.
Wow.
Insane.
Yeah. That was wild. Yeah, I have to admit, Griff, once Daniel plowed you on the brick port, I think a lot of people kind of dismissed your position because so it's awesome that I think, as the table said earlier in the game, like Forrest I think did a pretty good job of like helping get you back into the game, but I think you did a nice job of just like staying low, building to 10, and then eventually it turns out you weren't building to 10, you were actually like playing for a different win con.
When things like that happen, it's very easy to kind of lay down and die, but you can also just use it as an opportunity to buy yourself like a window of sympathy in the game. You get trades, you get lenient trades, you don't get stolen from, and then you just build yourself up to a point where your win conditions are a little bit more open.
Yeah,
you're kind of cooperative with the table, and you work along with them, and you take as much advantage from that as you can to get back, because you are just sitting at the bottom. So it's like, no, I deserve more for this trade kind of thing, stuff like that.
Yeah,
like when he demanded free insurance, that was exactly correct.
Yeah, I guess along those lines, when it comes to win conditions, Daniel, your road network was kind of funny looking. In
what road network?
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say, like, in retrospect, was the road network that you produced here the road network that you had in mind as the game was progressing, or like did you have road in your mind as something that you wanted in your win con, or like sorry, that's a weird way to ask that question, but like
I actually wanted devs for my win condition.
Okay.
But I wasn't able to buy them as much as I liked because my 6 kept getting blocked. The 6 wheat. It got blocked a lot actually, so I couldn't buy devs in some crucial spots in the mid game. But no, my road network, I mean, I I thought I was just going to waste a couple of roads to get that 4-port and then keep going, but it was probably a mistake to keep going on the 5. I should have turned back and gone down to the 11-3. It would have been much better, and I would have had a shot.
So it goes.
Or there was also a window. There was I could have. He probably would have dropped the road, but there was a time where I might have been able to, because I had a road builder that I didn't play, to go across Griff on the 5-4.
I see. Wow.
But he dropped a road like right before I played my
right before settle. You could have. Yeah. That's wow. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I think that's all for me. I appreciate all of you sticking around and answering a few questions after. I guess congratulations, Tio. I think with this win, you're slotted into the wild card round, if I know right. Really? So I think so. Yeah, I think you slot into top 13. So you might have another game to play in a bit.
Go, Tio.
Well, I didn't expect it. Even if I won, I thought I was out.
No, it was funny. As I was looking at the standings, I was like, wait a second. I think all of you had 0 wins, but I think all of you were playing for what I think might be the last wild card spot. So this felt like a wild card of wild card games in a way.